Books are powerful things. In fact, I would have to say that most of what I know today has come from what I have read. Gottman's book, The Marriage Clinic, a scientifically based marital therapy, was actually a required text in my master's program. Now, I don't recommend that book to my clients. It's basically written for clinicians. For my clients, I recommend the 7 principles for making marriages work. In fact, it's my required reading. Yes, you heard that right, required. I used to simply recommend that book, but now I require it. I require that my clients own a copy and that they have read that copy. The reason is simple. The information in that book is invaluable. Out of the nearly 500 books that I now have in my personal library, this book is easily in the top 5, perhaps the top 2. Now, sure, I can explain each principle to you in detail, and we can discuss them at length. But why would I even want to try and do that if my client isn't willing to read the book first? Doesn't it make so much more sense for me to talk about things that my client has read straight from Gottman? Personally speaking here, I can't explain it any better than Gottman does. He's absolutely the king of explanations. He did the research. He explains it better than anybody. And this book absolutely changed my life when it comes to relationships. Why would I not insist that all of my clients read it? Now, I fully understand, believe me, if you don't like my position, but here is my position. If you're not willing to spend $15 and several hours of your time to read the best relationship manual ever written, then I'm not willing to try and help you learn and operationalize what is contained in that manual. In my opinion, it's not a very big ask, especially for something this important. And just so you know up front, I'm going to know if you didn't read it. And if you haven't read it, sessions will be suspended until you actually do. It's just that simple and just that important to this whole process. It's a very practical request first and foremost, but it's also a request of commitment. You see, I've mentioned this before, but I'll say it again. I'm not willing to work any harder than any of my clients are willing to work. It would be absolutely remiss of me to do so and a disservice to my clients. If I have put more effort in than they have, which I have done far too many times in the past, I'm not helping. And I'm truly sorry that I've done that in the past, but no more. I'm committed to helping you obtain the relationship you dream of, but you got to understand, I need your unwavering commitment as well. So you might ask, why then do you need me? Well, that's a fair question. And honestly, if you can successfully operationalize these principles, put them into play in your life on your own from reading the book, I'm happy to step out of the way. I'm happy to have worked my way right out of a job. But that's a big if, because operationalize is the key word here. It means being able to put those principles into practice in your life. Understanding a principle and practicing it in thought, word, and deed are simply 2 very different things. Fully understanding the principles is only half the battle. Now, to get you the rest of the way there, you're going to need a very powerful strategy. And one of those is CAVP, my proprietary blend of cognitive behavioral therapy and neuro-linguistic programming, two of the most powerful strategies ever devised. CBT being the most powerful, and NLP not too terribly far behind. You see, change does not occur just because we know a better way. No more would that happen than purchasing a Peloton and learning how to use it would make a hard body, right? That does not a hard body make, and I think we all know why. The human brain is far too complex for that. And one thing is that the brain has a very stout security system. The behavioral patterns that are in our lives right now are locked down pretty tight. And it's kind of tricky to get past the firewall. For another thing, we all have a fierce drive to maintain status quo, to keep things just as they are, even if we don't want to. So moving the needle in our marriages takes a lot more than simply wanting to. It takes a lot more than willpower. And my proprietary blend of CBT and NLP is something that will help you do this. And in fact, I'm including below this actual video a link to my book. And please feel free to click on the action button to read my book or listen to my book. I have it on PDF and also in audio tapes, or the audio version. Now, it's not done. It's a rough draft, but I've got it out there on my website so that people can start to make use of it. And it talks about all the principles that I use to master these principles, to master these actual, the Bible of principles in Gottman's book. Now, I don't think I would even have to tell you that mastering relationships is going to take a lot of practice, but not just any old practice, perfect practice. Many people use the term that practice makes perfect. Well, that's not actually true. Practice makes permanent. Only perfect practice makes perfect. And I'm not just making a nifty little distinction there. It's absolutely true. If we're not practicing the perfect practice, which is the principles that Gottman discovered, and ways to actually make those practical, right? Practice practical in our lives, then it does no good to know the principles. So it's my job to help you get from principle to practice. And by that, I mean the perfect practice, that which Gottman discovered. So if after all of this rhetoric, you're still interested, then grab your gear and let's get busy practicing. See ya on the masterful side.